Shut up, Siffle. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
On the block with Strick and Austin.
Wait, pause. I need to know, how many games is this again?
100.
100.
100. And even 100.
And Sip. Yeah, bro. Shut up, Sipple. You can't be saying, listen, you know where I go. What's my spot? They tell me down there, they watch the show and they watch Sip, and they told me to tell Sip, stop saying 100. He don't say it like we say it. You say it again how you say it.
100?
100. He says 100.
What's that mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Chancellor Brewington, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome in. This is What's Brewing, Chancellor Brewington. We got the former Husker tight end to my left as always. And if you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. That is the Saturday Heyman text line. You can put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961 as well. Chancellor Brewington, how's it going on what is a chilly Thursday night?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. It's a great time, man. I'm full of life. I'm full of energy. I'm just grateful, man. There's obviously a bunch of stuff going on in the world that I wasn't really even hip to because I was not on social media for a couple days and found out about the fires and stuff. So
I don't even know the full story of that.
I really don't. I've just seen some people I know from LA. It
looks horrifying.
Yeah, it looks horrifying. So it's just, I mean, as bad as that is, I think you can use that in your own life, and have another thing to be grateful for. I mean, I don't think we even take into consideration or are as thankful as we should be for the little things, of course. And that's kind of cliche, but it is true. It is true. It rings true. And I mean, life is, for me, man, life is good, man. Life is good. It seems like after football, there's a sense of like where direction I'm going and this is and this. And that's a tough time in life when you're trying to figure out
that's everybody at that age. Because even if you didn't play football, you still got your diploma and you're like, okay, I got to get a big boy job now. Like, no longer is the degree and I'm working on it good enough. Like, now I got to go and do it.
Yeah. And I think there's a moment where it declares, if you keep seeking, you keep searching, declares what it is, like if, the question, like, what's the meaning of life? Like one of the most, other than do you believe in God, quote unquote, and that I don't even know what that means anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that question, like the meaning of life, like if you were to ask that question, what would you say it is? So, I mean, that's one of the heaviest questions to spring on someone.
I've thought about the way I always think about it, like, because when you ask those questions, like, you always get to the hard stuff and they go like, why does cancer exist? Like, the way I see it, like, a life is just a series of tribulations and problems, and the more problems you solve, the better man you are. And that's the game that you're supposed to play. Solve more problems, face more tribulations. The more you solve, the more you face, the better man you are.
That sounds like a depressing life.
It's the game, man. It's life.
Solve more. So you're expecting problems.
You just know it's not going to be a cakewalk. There's going to be challenges in life, and it's your job to solve and face them. And the more you conquer, the better you are.
Yeah, I think
like, you can make it depressing, but I mean, that's just like any life. No one's going to have a cakewalk. And every time you hit one of those moments, the moment where you graduated, that is a moment. What are you going to do? You're going to go and face it and conquer it, which you have. I think you're a better man for it. Or you would have went the other direction, squandered around, messed around, not faced it at all. You'd be worse off for it. Like, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you get really bogged down into why do the negative things even exist. If you look at them as challenges to be solved and faced, then you kind of eliminate why they even exist part. Because then there's the reason they exist is to make you a better man.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can make the hardships make sense.
Yeah, I think there's I think if you study it, I mean, you dedicate time to study, I think the answer declares itself, and it's a tough answer, I think.
What's the answer for you?
Why bad things happen?
Yeah, I can't remember what the original question was.
The meaning of life.
Yeah, the meaning of life.
Yeah, meaning of life is for me, and I think it obviously varies, and I think that's what makes life so beautiful is everyone has to find it for themselves. But I think for me, it's finding the meaning of life. Like, I think the meaning of life is finding the meaning of life. And once you find it, your thing, whatever it is, I think you develop it and serve it to the whole world. I mean, at the largest scale you can. And large is obviously relative to everyone. But I think you develop it and serve it, because I think everyone has a gift inside of them that serves others.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it serves others. I mean, I don't think there's a gift out there that doesn't serve humanity. I think if we can develop it, and I think that's the beautiful part of life is the search to it, because it's not fun. For the most part, it's uncomfortable. And I think once you find it, I think there's definitely desires, kind of that trigger mechanism that like releases energy, I would say. So you get a different zeal for life. Obviously, a new perspective comes in. But yeah, no, I think I think it's all about finding why you're here on earth. And I think that's the meaning of life. As ironic as it sounds, and maybe answering the question
with
the same with the question, but I think that's how deep it is. I think you could spend, your whole life discussing what the meaning of life is for real.
Yeah, it's there's something that happens at the age of 25. I don't know, you start thinking about that stuff more.
You said what?
Something happens at the age of 25. You start thinking more.
Yeah.
Holistically.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a turning point for most people, but
yeah, I've a bunch of like, I would say mentors. They're no longer here, but like the Jim Rohns, the Bob Proctors, the Napoleon Hills, like if you see a commonality like around 25, 26, 27, something happened. They got introduced to information. They started working on themselves. They got in the right field, the right business, right industry, and like things just changed for them. And I think there's you're right. I think there's definitely some about 25, 26. And
I think it's probably just that age, right? Like if you're gonna go and do damage in the world, like it's a good time to start. Like you're 25, man. Like you're an adult now.
Yeah.
Like you don't got to wait around for anything else. Like if you want to do something, you can go do it now.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is.
Yeah, and what a better place to quote unquote do damage. You know,
I don't know why I put it like that.
Yeah,
but.
like whatever that means, but like the like being in America.
Yeah,
this is America. This is amazing.
This
is amazing. You can literally create. Well, you can create the life you want anywhere. I believe that, but it's that much. I would say easier here.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. There's places I can name that it's way harder to live the life you want to live.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll leave those guys out. You can take a wild swing.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got on the plate today?
This is what's brewing. This is what's brewing. You never know where it's gonna go. Javen Wright's coming back.
Yeah. What is that? Year 7?
Year 7.
Yeah, because obviously the blood clots.
Blood clots, two labrums.
Yeah, that's right. The labrum
and an MCO.
The labrum was twice.
Yeah, he had one his freshman year, then he had one after 2022.
Oh man. Okay, that good thing they gave him that year.
Yeah, so
I missed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you look at how many years he's played. He's played, 2.5 years out of the 7. So it's not really like, your traditional 7th year. Guys played 4 years, and then he gets another year. It's really like hasn't played a whole bunch.
I will ask you this though, like in this, I'm never blaming the players for it because I'm a player. I'm absolutely going to take advantage of it every time. So this is nothing against guys like. Javen or even McCormick, the tight end who was like, 9 years?
Yeah.
Miami. Should
9
there
years
be
is insane.
Should there be like a list like, hey, sometimes you're just gonna get bad cards, and you can't help out everybody who got a bad hand of cards, because then we get into where we're having like 18-year-old he gets in the game and he's got to go tackle this 26 halfback.
Yeah.
Like you can't have 18-year-olds playing at 20. We just talked about 25. Like you're pretty much a grown adult.
Yeah.
Like you're a grown man at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 7th year is probably the max for me. I mean, I don't know the whole circumstance with the Miami guy. I would imagine that he had to have
injuries, like COVID,
4 years of injuries
and
in
a true red shirt.
He probably had injury freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, and then COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then he played 4 years. Mm-hmm. So that's the only way I can kind of.
And to me, that's where I'm like, you know what, man? I know that second chapter of life might be kind of scary, knowing that it's not football. But brother.
But at the end of the day, you can't even do that because think about it. I would love to look up his history. We'll probably do that coming back on the next break. But like, imagine seeing, 3 ACOs in the first 3 years. And he said, I'm going to, finish my career playing football, at Miami. It's kind of hard to say, well, you should move on from this or, that whole deal.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how he did get 9 total years. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy. McCormick, he started his college career in 2016. So multiple season-ending injuries. He did not see the field for 4 straight years. So he missed 4 straight years. After he got there in 2016, missed it 4 straight years. So
he's older than me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a grown, and it's not his fault. If I'm him, I'm going to take advantage of it. But it's also like, listen, well, your school's covered. You can't play football at that age anymore.
So it's more so the age for you.
Yeah, it's the age.
Yeah.
Because now you're taking, you can't have grown adults playing kids. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, there is a real difference of the teams that have a bunch of, you really saw it when that COVID year was on its last year. All the teams that had 5th-year guys, the entire starting lineups, they were just crushing teams, especially the teams with younger rosters. And now that the COVID stuff's finally over, like, we need to get back to pushing that average age lower. So there's going to be circumstances where these guys get extra years. I just think there's got to be a limit somewhere. And it's unfortunate, just life. But, like, you're still getting a college degree if the athletes care about that stuff even more. I mean, that sounds mean to say, but I'm kind of serious about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's a good question. I mean, you think about, the tight end from Miami, the one we're talking about, he's got to have a master's, right?
You would hope so.
Yeah. He might have 2 masters.
Like, if you only walked out with a bachelor's.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's a joke, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. That's pretty crazy when you look at it like that. It's really like 8.5. But I mean,
round it up
to 9, round it up to 10.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. But obviously, Javen Wright coming back adds a lot of depth there. So you got Deshaun McCullough, and then you got the linebacker from Georgia Southern, and then you got Vincent Shavers. So you got like a real 4-man rotation. Here's the question, and I think, I was talking about it a little bit earlier today, is the discussion around the jack and the rover position. And so I think, out of those linebackers, you say, okay, who can kind of maybe play that? And then I think the first question, though, is what's the criteria for a rover? I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is energy. Like, what type of energy does the guy play with? You look at Giff. The one thing I would say, the thing that made Giff so effective was his motor.
Yeah, that's why he had so many times. In that position, that's exactly what you need.
Yeah, and so you can judge the measurables and say, this guy, is of decent size. This guy is this guy is this. But, the moment where he doesn't answer I think you have to see it on the field, right? And I think spring ball is going to be a big thing. I think Deshaun McCullough, in a way, could play all 3, could play linebacker, could mix in on some jack stuff. I don't think he's going to be able to, deal with tackles for a whole game, of course. Although he does have that like 6'5", like 230 body type.
It'll be depending on the possession. Like, I think it'll be very situational.
Yeah, I think in a 2-minute situation, I wouldn't be mad there, or an obvious pass down.
If that's even the route that they decide to go.
Yeah, I mean, this is all hypothetical, of course, but like, and then obviously I think him and Javen, depending on their skill set, like what they provide to the table, I think they can do a lot of the same things. I think being creative with Deshaun, I think maybe will open the door for a little bit more creativity with Javen, because he's a guy, man, that you could obviously put him at linebacker, but you could mix him in on some rover stuff. You can put him in a post a couple of times, right? You don't want to have him out there, with no protection, no help all the time. But I think you can disguise some things. Like, if Deshaun McCullough is your rover, starting this possession, all of a sudden you rotate him down, buzz him down, and you go kind of this like inverted, cover 3 where Javen now takes the post. Like, you could really do some interesting stuff there.
And he's got the speed and length.
Yeah,
to really be a problem there. That's the one thing about one of his strengths, that it's just the thing that you either have it or you don't. Like, he's kind of got a weird build for a football player that actually works for him.
Right.
Like, it's not a build you see very often, but for what his job is on that defense, it's perfect.
Yeah,
because he's just kind of awkward, but he's got just and not like awkward in terms of like his agility and speed, but like lengthwise.
Yeah,
like you don't
he's
see
like
a whole
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, like really long wingspan. Because I can't remember he's got a plus wingspan. I can't remember by how much.
It's insane. It's one of the long. It's like literally like Kawhi. His hands are like Kawhi.
You can see it when he walks.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a guy that if you're a quarterback, like you see him, but then you throw it and you see him put his hands up and you're like, oh, I did not get enough under that.
Yeah.
That guy's got tree branches.
Now imagine you got him and Deshaun McCullough right there. You know, at Mike and Will.
And if you're going to invert them at times like that, you got the quarterback guessing, because that's two different guys on what that window is going to look like.
Yeah, and you're always trying to ID stuff if you're a quarterback and get some type of tip on, you know, shell coverage and this and this. You can, I mean, you have two guys that can. The first person I think of, some things that you can do with them is kind of Isaiah Simmons from Clemson back in the day. You know, being able to, you know, they played Isaiah Simmons everywhere. He covered linebacker. Obviously played linebacker. He covered running backs. He covered tight ends man to man. They put him up. He came off the edge a few times. You know, and at a stand-up 9 like edge rusher. He played Mike before, Will. He was at nickel sometimes. He literally was playing safety.
Yeah, and he could do it all too.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd hold contain to a T on the edge.
Yeah.
Or he'd go downhill and rush. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, he could do a lot. So I think allowing them to be the fullest version of themselves and not boxing them into the defense. I think you fit the defense to your players and allow them to really reach their fullest potential. Because then you talk about a guy like Vincent Shavers. Well, shoot, I mean, that dude has
to get him back.
Some of the best instincts I've seen as a young freshman. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, for me, it's not only instincts, but it's like when you have those instincts on top of that acceleration, that's
his body
scary.
control is the way he's able to bend and the way he's able to move laterally. And yeah, and it is there partly, I think it is, like you said, like there's just a different type of first step to him. And, you know, you don't get that. And then you add in, I think the Georgia Southern guy is going to be a good compliment for the group because he's a guy with 1 year left. I know he's going to come in here and compete with everyone, and the level of competition with those four are going to be, I mean, it's going to be through the roof.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is it for him. I mean, he's coming to the University of Nebraska for his last year. Like, dude wants to see the field.
Yeah, and
he's gonna be going for it.
he's not coming here to finish off his college career nicely, you know, and sipping Mai Tais on the beach. Like he is coming.
Pick the wrong school if he's looking for a beach. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Probably go to UCF, but yeah, like you are coming here to play and probably get a shot at the next level. Like, so, you know, and him and Javen Wright are in that same boat. 1 year left. And I think the matchups, like the things you can do with both of those, with all four of those guys.
Well, that's what I like. Because
that's nasty.
I want to ask about this as we're getting ready to throw out the break here. The one thing, if you want to nitpick Nebraska's defense, for some reason, third downs, we actually were not very good.
Yeah, and
like it's third and longs too. And I do like the idea of right now with the defense we got, especially at some of those positions, we got a lot of guys that are kind of interchangeable, where you can even do a bunch of creative stuff on defense and really disguise it. I wonder if that's just all we need a little bit, like not even dialing up like a ton of heat, but just mixing up the coverage enough, or even just doing just some small tweaks, maybe inverting a few guys on what they're supposed to cover. Because you just want a little bit of confusion on that third and long. And the quarterback, more often than not, is going to either throw it away or they might just panic and throw out something they don't fully see yet.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that Rule talked about discussing with John Butler, was just the making it a little bit more complex and a little bit more complicated for offense coordinators and obviously quarterbacks to read on third down. Because you kind of saw, I would say, Ohio State game a little. We got the field pretty good there, but then like you go to UCLA and kind of later in the year, and really in the beginning too, exception of Colorado game. I think
Eric Bieniemy really chewed us up on third and long.
Yeah,
that was like all game long. It was one of those games where it was bizarre. They almost felt like they had more success if they're staring at 3rd and 10 than if they're staring at 3rd and 2.
Yeah, I think that UCLA game, I think the best we've been on third down was probably Colorado and Ohio State. And I think when you go back and look at those games, like we're sending pressure, and we're playing confident. I think that was something we kind of got outside of, was being comfortable sending pressure and trusting the guys to play behind us. And I think that was the reason why we weren't doing so many complex things, or we weren't, doing all these, roll coverages and leaving guys one-on-one, is because, you had a constant rotation with the cornerbacks, and it's really hard to play, aggressive defense while you're trying to protect your cornerbacks as well, because now your safeties are out of the picture. And now your linebackers have to kind of plug, not so much plug, but be in coverage a little bit more since you don't have a safety in coverage. So it all stems, I think, from the cornerback position. But I mean, Kilbrew, MGK, that's his initials, but he's from, another cornerback, Andrew Marshall, Jameer Khan, from Southern Illinois. So you add in some corners, and I think that goes to the same topic. I think they know and we know, and it also poses a question: what is their vision? What is their vision with Malcolm Hartzog, and what's their vision with Marquise Buford? Because those two guys have been, rotating, and I think that's the reason. I'll say this: we'll talk about it on the break. And this is a question you can answer real quick. We'll dive into it, but is Malcolm Hartzog better, or I would say, is Sair Wright better, or did he play better?
I like Sair Wright more, I think. What about you?
I'm on the other side of it.
Okay.
I think he played better this year.
Okay. That's fine with it. To me, it's close enough to where if you're the coach, it's a good problem to have. I think you're going to have an option.
Yeah, I just think the more consistently you throw Sair Wright out there, he's going to get picked on a lot.
That is true.
And
you did see that at times. Like, he was the guy most frequently getting picked on when he was out there.
And I think in the run game too, you get him into the boundary. We would love to run over there, right? I would, and the guys they added in aren't the biggest guys at the cornerback position. So you're going to be light there.
Mm-hmm.
And DB wise, I mean, if you're sticking with Buford, right, and you add in maybe another safety, you got the Justin Rhett dude from Georgia. Don't know if he's going to come in and produce right away. But as far as like back end goes, you're real small, like real thin and real small. So you got to accompany that with speed, of course, and technique and discipline and stuff like that. But if your guys in the front seven get home fast enough, of course, then I can add a little bit of relief in the defense.
Yeah, and it is good to have, I think, Phil Snow there as well.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a big part of this team. That associate head coach, because I imagine he's probably going to focus a lot on that defense. Kind of seems to be what he's helped out a lot with Matt Rule when he's been with Matt Rule through all these stops. So I think too, like, he'll be probably a big part on kind of cracking on who they all want out there, what that defense is going to look like for next year. All right. With that being said, though, we'll go ahead throughout the break here. I'll give you a quick update on the game here. Oh, excuse me. I closed out of it. You got the score?
Last time I saw it was 10-0.
10-3 is where we're at. We're at halftime. Low scoring game, but the Nittany Lions are up as they are up 10-3 over the Fighting Irish at the end of half. All right, we'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. 2 more segments left. What's Brewing? Chancellor Brewington, Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. Talk to you in a little bit.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Old School with DP and J.
It would take a different type of team to recruit Jay Foreman coming out of high school. Because I didn't lift weights. I didn't do any of that. I didn't do camp. So you had to have somebody that had some vision. A lot of these coaches right now, and especially with the 105 and NIL, they don't have to have vision right now. You saw what Deion Sanders says, look, I'm recruiting 8 to 10 guys out of high school. I expect you to play. If you don't play by your first year or showing that you're going to be able to be a starter or contributor by the second year, you're gone.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Wait, pause. I need to know, how many games is this again?
100.
100.
100. And even 100.
And Sip. Yeah, bruh. Shab Sipple. You can't be saying, listen, you know where I go. What's my spot? They tell me down there, they watch the show and they watch Sip, and they told me to tell Sip, stop saying 100. He don't say it like we say it. You say it again how you say it.
100?
100. He says 100.
What's that mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Wait, pause. I need to know, how many games is this again?
100.
100.
100. And even 100.
And Sip. Yeah, bruh. Shab Sipple. You can't be saying, listen, you know where I go. What's my spot? They tell me down there, they watch the show and they watch Sip, and they told me to tell Sip, stop saying 100. He don't say it like we say it. You say it again how you say it.
100?
100. He says 100.
What's that mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. Second segment, What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. Want to shout out Teammates. You can sign up to be a teammate today. Go to lincolnteammates.org. Doesn't take a whole lot of time out of the week to be a teammate, and if you don't have that time available, you can always help and donate in other ways. All right, Chancellor Brewington, where do you want to go with it? We do got plenty of college football. We got postseason football going on right now. Postseason football tomorrow on Saturday, Sunday, and then the national championship on Monday. So we got an entire weekend straight.
We got Carson Beck in the portal.
Yeah, and Carson Beck's coming back to the NFL. To maybe not. Don't like where I'm sitting in this. What do you think?
I don't know. I've seen some reports. Maybe Miami. Maybe Texas Tech.
Oregon.
Maybe Oregon, maybe
Oregon
Ohio State.
Seems like Ohio State I can see, and Oregon to me seems like the perfect.
I think Ohio State wants to get a guy though. I would hold off if I was Ohio State. I would want to get a guy. I think the lapse they've kind of had with the inconsistency in the offense this past year just hasn't been. Obviously.
I don't really think it's on Howard though.
Well, I mean,
Howard's been good.
You look at what CJ Stroud was, and the quarterbacks before him. Justin Fields and, those days, of course, what's his name? Was it Barrett?
Now you're killing me. What position we talking? Quarterback?
JT Barrett?
Oh, JT Barrett. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
JT Barrett. Yeah. But you had some bright spots the past few years, and so maybe you go and say, hey, Carson Beck wasn't that great at Georgia. Really was surrounded by the top 3 athletes in the nation. And maybe that provided kind of a safety blanket for him You know, when
they did
things,
look better with him out there, though. I will say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it should
Good point.
You're the starting quarterback, so it should be better with you out there. And I think honestly, though, that midway lapse where he threw 13 picks or 7 picks, whatever it was, that hurt obviously his stock and what he had going for him, because you just have to play decent if you're at Georgia at quarterback. I mean, you saw with what's the one before him?
That Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. I mean, you saw with him, like, man,
the walk on.
He did some good things, right? Made some good throws. Wasn't anything too spectacular. Still was played above average, played good ball, right? And
he also had that walk on story though. Like he was the ultimate. There's some guys where you get a little bit more grace. He was one of them. He had some moments where you're like, yeah, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, but it was nowhere near what Carson Beck did this year.
Carson Beck, and he also had less grace to work with. And that's why you saw that. I mean, he was getting trolled on social media.
Yeah, the whole girlfriend stuff and
the sloth comparisons. They're brutal to the kid.
Yeah. So he was through the ringer. So I think he's kind of a similar guy that might, choose to do the same thing as I would say, depending on how he plays against Ohio State, if he wins that, and of course how he plays in the national championship, is Quinn Ewers. I mean, you look at him, there's already reports of him coming back, that he's going to hit the portal after, that teams, might be ready to sign him. This is this. And then, so I'm thinking maybe before season, you're thinking, yeah, I'm a top 5 quarterback. Some lists come out. I'm not a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah. And those scouts are even more interested in the guy behind you.
Yeah.
Which hence, if you're coming back, probably one of the worst places to be for a starting quarterback is to have Archie behind, or Arch. See, I always want to call him Archie. To have Arch Manning behind you.
Yeah. So I think if Quinn Ewers goes out tomorrow and throws 350 yards for 4 touchdowns and wins and does the same thing in national championship, I think it's sayonara, goodbye.
Yeah, which would be a smart move.
Right. But I think if history, this year and the past year, he plays kind of the Quinn Ewers game where he throws, around 230 yards, a touchdown here, maybe run one in, and that's kind of is what it is, right? Probably around like a, 28 for, 38 or whatever completion percentage, right? Nothing too crazy. I think he would come back. And I mean, think about it. If he were to go in the draft, yeah, he might run all right. He might run 4.6 maybe, right? And measurables won't be anything crazy. He's not going to be an Anthony Richardson out there, right? But you go and get drafted 3rd, 4th round, base salary, you're making around 900, 800, 750, something like that for first year. Obviously, it goes up incrementally each year, but you stay in college one more year, you're making 2.5 million, and don't have to worry about getting cut.
Yeah.
And don't have to worry about fighting for the 2nd or 3rd quarterback spot and making the practice squad. Because the thing we're seeing more and more in the NFL is the 2nd round and 3rd round guys aren't really, even 1st round guys, some guys aren't safe anymore, right? It's not as before where you're a 1st round, mid-2nd, and you can kind of expect to be there for 4 years. We're seeing 1st rounders get traded after the 2nd year. We're like the rookie contract for the top 2. Obviously, you got your top 15 picks, top 25 picks, right? But for the most part, I mean, these second round, 3rd round, 4th round, like those guys are getting traded. Like those guys are getting cut. Like it's I would say it's a lot different now than it was before. There's maybe a little bit more security.
Well, the 1% is just getting that good.
Yeah.
Like football is getting that good.
Yeah.
If you watch the NFL today, like you can even just go back 10 years.
Margin for error is very small.
Yeah. Like in 10 years, there's a lot more margin for error.
Yeah.
Today, there's like 0. Like you do not, that's why when Dan Campbell and the Lions, they won a game and they had 5 turnovers. That's why that was groundbreaking. It's that's unheard of.
Yeah.
To beat a bunch of pros and you turned it over 5 times that day, that stuff doesn't happen. You have to be so damn good. And it's just a fine line. And to compete in the NFL, coaches, they don't got time to wait. If you don't have it, people are too good today. You're going to get exposed right away, and they can see it right away because you show up on practice. oh man, we messed up.
Yeah.
This guy, we can already see it through camp. Like he's just not even close to competing.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait around for you.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know how much. I really don't know. If I would assume that Quinn Ewers' decision is probably already set. On what's going to happen. It's either clear cut. And I would. If I'm a betting man, I'm probably going to go towards he's staying.
Yeah, make more money. I mean, it's also one of those things. You're not pushing off the money. You're getting money to go do another year. So it's not like you got to live. I got to hold off on the dream for another year. Like the dream's still the NFL, but a big part of the dream was the money that came with it. A lot of that stuff's already kind of taken care of for you.
Yeah. So I mean, you come back and obviously you're not. I mean, not obviously. I would assume that he's not come back to Texas. Right?
I would doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the conversation would be, hey, Arch is ready, right? He's ready. I'm not going to say, maybe Texas coach doesn't say, he's our guy, but he's going to say he's ready. Like he's ready to come in and compete. And, he showed us flashes this year. So
I think Sarkisian would be honest and nice enough with viewers to let him know, like, let's make sure you get your name in the portal. Like if you want to play, because we're rolling with Arch.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to, he's, I don't like ever giving credit to Texas, but he seems to be like a pretty good relationship coach with the players.
I think Oregon's a good landing spot for him.
I think just the Nike money. Oregon really likes the 1-year quarterbacks.
And I think he fits the brand. Like, just personable guy, Dylan Gabriel, the smile, Bo Nix, the smile, just like whatever that means, right? Just being able to be a little bit personable, clear, very not very articulate, but speaks well enough in interviews, is a good brand ambassador for Nike.
Used to the spotlight.
That's something Phil Knight, obviously cares about. And, there's some real strings, of course, there. And I think the Dan Lanning, like you kind of have that fire, and definitely with a guy coming in 1 year, it's a leadership thing. You're going to come in and lead a team. Can you do that? I think Quinn Ewers is a guy who can. So,
and Lanning's got the pedigree to coach up QBs. We've seen it.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't seem to really matter who he gets. Like they end up having a pretty damn good year. Like even Oregon, I was not high on Oregon this year.
Me either.
Dead wrong, man. That team, they execute. Like they're very, very prepared. You're not going to go play Oregon, whether it's in Autzen or you get them at your place and meet them unprepared.
Yeah.
It's just a really well-coached team.
Yeah, really, really well-coached team. And they play fast. They're still the Oregon that plays fast. And I think they need a quarterback who can command a fast offense. And I don't really know if that's Quinn Ewers' game. But I think he can adapt and mold into that.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly, I don't know. It's like definitely not Georgia's style, but it's one where if you're a good enough quarterback, that's probably the easiest game to learn. Because it's like, if you're playing that quick game, if you get the cadence down,
I think that's the harder game to play.
That West Coast style? Well, it depends. I guess, yeah, if you're doing this hurry up all the time, quick sprint to the line of scrimmage.
Decision making.
Yeah, but in terms of the throws, like to me, he's going to be experienced enough to know, like, if you're playing that quick game, it's going to be like, okay, 1-2 read. There it is. There's my slant. There's my dig. There's my out. Like and here's my shot play.
Well, I think the flip side of it, and this would probably go towards that argument, is like, playing out of school like a Bama, playing out of school, where, your passes are these drop back things or more so heavy play action. You're not spinning it out every game, every play. I think the margin for error is really small. So you look at guys that played at the Bama schools and guys that played at some points Georgia as well, the Michigans, the JJ McCarthy's, stuff like that. When they go and throw the ball, they have to execute. I think the thing with Oregon is, Dylan Gabriel can, miss 7 throws and it'd be all right. If you miss 7 throws in a Bama offense or Georgia offense or even Michigan offense, I mean, you're probably losing that game, right? Because you can't miss 7 throws, right? And I'm not saying you can miss. I'm not even saying you can miss 7 throws in the Oregon offense. I'm just saying, with the whole West Coast deal, the margin for error is a little bigger just because you throw the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, in the SEC, you get so much of that style where you're just not gonna, because you try to play like fast tempo in the SEC, you just end up getting yourself killed because like it's just not a conference where you want to find yourself in 3rd and long, because that's some of the best edge rushers you're going to find. And when you're in a bunch of situations where all right, Alabama or, Ole Miss, Georgia, like it's 3rd and long. Pin your ears back. We're obviously in a passing situation. The Pac-12, I know the Big Ten now, much better school. Like you can kind of still play that. And if you're looking at a 3rd and long, they're just still not quite good enough on that defense in terms of being able to get pressure. SEC is the best at that. So that's why you see so much of that play action stuff there. Like they have to do something to get those guys thrown off a little bit.
Yeah.
And Oregon just kills everybody through the screen game. That was one thing that we got to throw at the break that surprised me though. In that Ohio State game was that first time around, they had some success with that. Second time around, Ryan Day shut that stuff down. Like you were not going to be able to get anything on the edge. And that's one where I think if you're landing, you get a guy like Carson Beck, that might actually help him kind of tweak his offense to be a little bit more explosive at times instead of just the dink and dunk. Let him do an undefeated regular season, but then they saw it with Ohio State. Like as soon as Ohio State shut down those little, quick, let's get 5 yards to keep the chains moving, the game just fell apart for him.
Yeah, I think just kind of every like 2 or 3 years we enter into that new era of college football quarterbacks, and I think it's time, where there's going to be the new top dogs are coming in, the Arch Mannings, the Nikos from Tennessee, those type of guys. Cam Ward's gone, Shador Hunter's gone. There's a bunch of guys gone, so there's a big void that needs to be filled, and I think there's going to be some real stars that emerge at these, not only these mid-level schools, but at these big schools too.
Yeah, and hopefully one of those stars is doing real well for us.
Exactly.
He was a star this year, but didn't quite have the explosive season. But true freshman year, you kind of expected it. I think we talked about it. Like if I had to grade him, I would give him a C. Pretty much exactly what I expected. And looked like a 5-star at times, but also looked like a true freshman at times. All right, we'll go ahead, throw it to break here. Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment. What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Did you know that AmeriCorps programs improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in Nebraska? For example, AmeriCorps members serving with International Council for Refugees and Immigrants help students from refugee and immigrant families overcome cultural barriers and adapt to life in Nebraska. Discover more about AmeriCorps programs making a difference in your community at serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Shavers is that man. He could go down as one of the best in football at Nebraska. Good. As a linebacker. Kids got good instincts. Yeah. Got great closing speed. What more can you ask for? You want him to learn as he go, but at the same time, he got to be a student of the game. This offseason is going to be big for him.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
When you're high, you feel different.
You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska-supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Drive with AD Raff and Amon Gray.
How do we get it to 105? So as of right now, according to the Football Media Guide in 2024, we had roughly about 150 guys on the roster. That leaves about 45 players in Nebraska to trim. So far, 14 players have used up their eligibility this year. About 30 players have transferred out. You also signed 20 high school players. You added 14 more players via the portal. So that gives you about 138 players currently still on that roster. So you still got some guys you got to get rid of.
Weekdays from 8 to 10. Back to What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington, the former Husker tight end. To my left, as always, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got about 5 minutes left here before we wrap up at least the live part of Ticket Weeknights. And we'll be full on replays after that. Chancellor Brewington, where do you want to go with it?
So we got 16 portal commits so far. And I'll read them out. And I just want to get your grade on them so far and maybe where the room is for more improvement and maybe the position where you're like, hey, we still need this. And I have mine. I want to hear yours. So we have, here's the hard part, Harrison. I'm not gonna pronounce their last names. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna mess it up. So Williams, yep.
Winari.
Yep. No. Yep.
Winari. The end silent on
okay,
there.
There we go. D-line, Missouri. Kevin Gallick, long snapper, needed that.
Yeah,
of
we
course.
did.
Jack McAllister needed that punter. Jalen George, D-line. He's probably my sleeper, a younger guy.
Is he the Idaho kid?
He's the East Tennessee State.
Oh, that's right.
Real efficient there, playing D-line. All conference guy. Gabe Moore, D-line, Mississippi State. Nizia Hunter, Cal, established, polished. Will come in and contribute. Reminds me kind of I would say a little bit of a bigger Samari Toure, right? Can run routes, but still can move a little bit. Marcos Davila from Purdue, quarterback, right? Put a
kind
little,
of the safety.
Put a little fire under, Raiola.
Yeah, you just need that, right? Like you don't want to necessarily get somebody who Dylan's got to be thinking about it too much, but you also don't want Dylan just with some kid that they pulled off the street.
Exactly. Justin Rhett, DB, Georgia. This one's interesting. People are like, let's go. This is this. I'm kind of more even keel. We'll see how it goes. Just because I know how it is. Sometimes, guys transfer and, it's like.
O'Shawn Mathis.
Well, no, he contributed in some way. Obviously it wasn't I would say it's the guys that haven't played yet somewhere. And so we get kind of hype about that and put expectations on them.
Okay, I see what
like
you're saying
Jackson
now.
Hood.
Yeah.
You're like, but at the end of the day, they didn't play at the last school. So, if the person doesn't change, the situation doesn't change. So, and then you got Deshaun McCullough. That's probably, with the receivers, that's my favorite one so far. Dane Key, another one, wide receiver, Kentucky, established
I
guy.
like Dane Key a lot. That's the wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's the guy I like.
My sleeper one, though, number 11 is Andrew Marshall, DB out of Idaho. Thing is, natural punt returner, natural kick returner. I mean, you think about the qualities of a punt returner. You obviously say speed and stuff like that, but I don't think you can really put your finger on it. You really have it or you don't, right?
It's a DNA thing.
It's a
I try to crack the
yes.
Morning Pearson Else brain on it all the time.
It's a DNA thing, and he's a DB. So DBs who get back there,
that's DNA thing.
That's a DNA thing.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother conversation. Hardly Gilmore, the fourth wide receiver out of Kentucky, a freshman, caught a few balls his true freshman year, got some snaps. I think he held his red shirt, so that's always awesome. Marquise Watson-Trent, linebacker from Georgia Southern.
I like that one.
I mean, 1 year left, established guy, captain on the team, 300 plus tackles, couple picks.
He was the guy.
6 forced fumbles.
I think when we beat us, he had unreal numbers because he was at Georgia Southern.
Yeah,
you played him, right?
He was not the same number. He
okay.
was 32, so he wasn't number 1 there.
Right.
But I mean, he was decent. He played more of a nickel role there.
Okay.
He's a smaller guy, 6 foot, 225, but he's evolved as a player since obviously he came here and played. Jameer Khan, corner from Southern Illinois, that he committed, this past week. And then Elijah Pritchett.
Yeah, that's
committed.
obviously the big one.
That's
the one that obvious, like that's the biggest one. So
yeah,
far.
and then you got Kilbrew from U of A, and he's been at Louisville and A&M before. So,
and that one just came through today.
Today,
right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest ones for me are obviously receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pritchett is big, and I think Deshaun McCullough is big too. I would say Andrew Marshall is a guy he's going to contribute, whether it's at corner and punt returner. He's going to contribute. The one thing for me is we still don't. I would say the question mark on the tight end position.
Yeah, what do you do there? Because you lost Borkature.
You lost Fedoni.
You got Lindenmeyer still.
And yeah, I like him for inline stuff. But
let me ask this. I was listening to the locker room one day because I was running some errands. You're not big on Harburg at the tight end.
No, I'm not.
Why? That surprises me.
Well, I just kind of, I guess I understand the position. I mean, first of all, like to get a guy to get not only a guy, but a quarterback to learn how to play with his hands at the tight end position.
But he was already. It's not like
no.
He was the tight end, and then he was the quarterback, and I was going back to tight end.
Well, I mean, if you just look at the Boston College game, you're like, wow, he has a long way to go.
Yeah, he certainly. It's tough, right? Because I will say there's times where like it's not that he can't. He was just whiffing, but there's times where when he had the actual, what do you want to say it? When he's taking the right first step, just proper mechanics, fundamentals. There we go. Man, I was struggling to find that word. Proper fundamentals. He was fine, but there's times where you can catch him. He's just off balanced, and he was not holding his own out there.
I think maybe a spring. Maybe in a year.
Well, you put some muscle on him. He's certainly going to get weight.
I think the muscle, you take that out of consideration. It's how comfortable can you get? And it's a whole new world in there. I mean, yeah, you say you play quarterback and all that stuff. It's just a whole new world. And I think the adjustment for him is going to be, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just understanding, wow, like that takes a lot of work, takes a lot of studying. I mean, yeah, you say, quarterbacks should know everything. Well, they don't know the tight ends rules for double teaming and this and this. And
yeah, they know where you're supposed to be, not necessarily how you're supposed to.
More so in the passing game, right? They know if you're leaving an end, for a pitch key. But other than that,
if it's a read option, if they're holding on to it, obviously they understand. Like if they're blocking, they'll be here, not how you get to that point.
Yeah, they don't know seeing up to the next level and sifting backside and holding the B gap for power and stuff like so. Like it's a whole new ball game. But I think if someone coaches him up right, in the correct way, he'll be all right.
I think it'll be awesome. I'm buying into it. I think he'll be good there.
I think
not like, and when I say awesome, he's not gonna be like what Bowers was.
Between Carter Nelson and him, I'll take Carter Nelson.
I
don't think it's even close.
Definitely in the receiving game, I'll take Carter Nelson all day. I don't know how good of a blocker he can be.
Harrison, come on.
I'm serious. Like if it comes to blocking,
you're gonna put
how big is Carter Nelson?
Quarterback.
How big is Carter Nelson?
230.
230? Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. Let me see it on the field.
Yeah, that's the telltale sign is let the film talk.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get out of here. That's been What's Brewing, Chancellor Brewington. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll do it again all next week. Enjoy the rest of your night. This has been Ticket Weeknights.
I used to smoke. I thought a cigarette is my best friend.